Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to be adding audio to our video clips, which is really easy to do in Photoshop. And over here, I have my video clip opened, and all I'm going to do is make sure that the speaker is turned on over here. I turn that on, and then I'm going down over here on my audio track. If I click on the little music note, I'm going to select Add Audio, and then I'm going to go over to here and select my audio file and press Open. It's opened the audio track on a separate track underneath the video clip. In this case, the audio is longer than the video clip. I can easily shorten it by just dragging it, and it will snap to the same spot as over here. And then I can also go ahead and add a fade out transition if I want. So I can use this slider to see how long I want it to last. And then when I play it back, it sounds like that. So you can also adjust the volume if you find you need to make it a little bit louder or softer by clicking the slider over here. And you can apply the same exact effect using the same exact process with still photos, with video clips mixed with still photos, or a photo slideshow. In this case, I've taken a still photo, added some motion graphics, then added a custom audio recording to match exactly what was happening in the little photo turned into a video, as you can see here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So as you can see, not only can you do photos and videos, but you can add audio, and it adds a whole new dimension to what you're doing. Have fun with it. Right now in this lesson, we're going to take a series of images in an image sequence and turn it into a video. And then after that, we'll do the opposite, where we take a video clip and we export it out into separate images. So first we're going to start by doing File and Open. And I have a folder of images already ready. And notice they're all in sequential order without any skips in the numbers. And this is really important so that you don't have blank spots. And what I'm going to do is click on the very first image in the series, and then down here on the bottom it says Image Sequence. So I'll click on that, and then I press Open. And I can choose what my frame rate's going to be. I can choose something standard. I'm going to do about 6 frames per second. So I want it fast, but I don't want it too fast because I still want you to be able to see all the numbers that are in order. So I've taken pictures of numbers in order. And this works well with maybe any pictures that are in sequential order, maybe photos that you've taken in burst mode, a time-lapse video, this works great, or even something like stop motion. So I'm going to press OK, and I have that, and I'm going to go ahead and open up my timeline window, and I have this down here, and when I play it back, it just shows it in order. If I want to keep it looping, I can go over into the settings here and click on Loop Playback. And so I have this nice video that's going to be looping for me so I can see it better. And it's that simple. So let me show you another example where I've taken an image sequence of a child jumping, and I've already put them together just like I did with the previous example. And the thing that's good about this that makes it a little bit easier is if you want to apply filters or adjustments to all of the photos in the image sequence. So for example, I want to maybe make the colors in here a little bit surreal. And so I can add, for example, a hue and saturation adjustment layer to the entire image sequence as it's already in a video clip. So I can just maybe boost the colors a little bit so the green looks greener than green and the red looks redder than red. And then I can also maybe add a filter to it. So now, right now, you can add the adjustment layers to just a regular video. If you notice that the video clip has got the little film icon in the corner of the thumbnail in the layers palette. But if I want to add a filter to it, I need to convert it to a smart object. So I'm going to go up to the filter menu and do convert for smart filters so I can add the filters. And I'm just going to say OK, because it's asking me if I want to do this and turn it into a smart filter. And I've done it. And basically what happens is when you apply the smart filter, it's protecting it in a non-destructive way. So now you can tell that it's been converted, because in the thumbnail here, you see a little icon here with a little page with a corner turned over as opposed to the video clip. And it's still a video clip, so when I play it back, it's still going to look exactly the same. So now what I'm going to do is add like a blur filter to it. And I'm going to go to the blurs and then maybe do an iris blur, for example. And it's creating this little blur effect around the whole shape. And I can just go ahead and adjust this. Now you won't be able to adjust it frame by frame. It's going to apply it to the whole image sequence. So the disadvantage is it's not quite as customized as if you did it frame by frame. But in some cases that will be enough. And I'm using the little arrow keys to move my little focus area over. Okay, so now after I've applied the filter, I can just go ahead and check the OK box, and that will apply it to the whole entire video clip. So now after I've applied my filters and my adjustment layers, maybe I would like to take that video clip and export it out to separate JPEGs in still images, and so I can choose which one I like the best. So I'll just do File, Export. And maybe for now, I'll just go ahead and put it right onto the desktop. And I'll call it Jumping. And I'm going to choose Photoshop Image Sequence. And you can decide how many frames you want it to be. I started out with 6, so I'll end with 6. And then I can go ahead and render them out. So here are all the photos that I've exported back out into separate JPEGs, and I've opened them up in Bridge. So now I can look at each one individually to decide which one that I like the best. And I can just cycle through one and then just decide which one or which ones that I would like to save. So as you can see, the mask has been applied and the adjustment layer has been applied to each one of them. So it's just a quick way that you can do some batch processing to all of your photos. All right, so now I have opened just a regular video clip that I found, and I can also export these out to separate still images. So maybe there's just one frame that you want to keep. So what I could do is maybe just go ahead and advance it to the spot, maybe where I want to keep it. And then I can go ahead and pull this timeline over here so I can isolate it. Keep this over here. And maybe just tighten it up a little bit so that I don't have too many, but I still want to maybe have different choices. So now I've just turned it into a short video clip, and I'm going to go ahead and export it in just exactly the same way as I did the other image sequence. I'm going to call this one, I'm going to create a folder for it called Beach Pics. And I can decide how many different frames I want to export it out to, and then go ahead and render it, and I will exactly the same way get a folder full of image sequences or images. So once again, I'm going to open up Bridge, and then I'm going to open up my beach pics that have been exported out to JPEGs so I could see which one that I like the best, or whichever ones that I want to save. So now I've chosen just one of my images, and I've chosen this one because I like it because she's moving and you can see her foot up in the air, and it's balanced just the way that I like it. So go ahead and try shooting some short video clips and exporting them out to image sequences, choosing your favorite one. I would like to see what you could come up with. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about how to export video from Photoshop. Now, there are several different things you want to consider depending on your purposes. And in my first example, I have a number sequence or an image sequence of photos that I've put together in a video in 6 frames per second. And my camera shoots in about 4:3 ratio, and I want to make sure that it's exactly that. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and make sure that the video is cropped to a 4:3 ratio. Now I'm going to do File, Export, Render Video, and well, I'm going to go ahead and name it, and I'll call this Numbers Video. And I'm going to choose an H2.64, high quality, and the 4:3 ratio is 640 by 480. Since I originally had done it in 6 frames per second, I want to make sure that I stay in multiples of 6, so I'm going to do the frame rate of 30. So generally you're going to do 24, 30, or 60 frames per second. In this case, I want to do 30. And the other thing that you want to make sure of is that you choose square. Now I can render my video. And when you're done, this is what it will look like. So if you were to render the video in widescreen video ratio, this is what it's going to look like with the black bars. So if you would like to avoid doing that, be sure to export with a 4:3 ratio and follow the steps that I showed you. And now I'm going to show you how to render a regular video. This one was shot 24 frames per second in HD video. So I'm going to do File, Export, Render Video. Once again, I'm going to choose the H.264 high quality. And up here in the top menu, this is the standard older versions of video. I'm going to stay in HD. If you want, this one would be great for most purposes, especially for streaming or if you're going to post on the web on HDV 720p. If you want to maintain the very highest quality, you can choose this one. And then that will be a larger file size, but also higher quality. So the next thing you want to think about is frame rate. And since I shot 24 frames per second, I'm going to choose 24 frames per second. In general, it will either be 24, 30, or 60, depending on what you're shooting with. So I have 24 frames per second, and now I want to make sure that I name my video, and I decide exactly where I want to save it. I'm, in this case, going to just go ahead and choose the desktop, and so now I can go ahead and render my video. And this is what it looks like when we're done. So in the next example, I'm going to show you how to export with a transparent background or an alpha channel. So if you see, it has the transparent background here, and I might want to keep that. Now, generally, if I just export it out, it will look like it has a black background, but maybe I might want to later overlay this on top of other video, for example. So I'm going to choose File, Export, Render Video. And this time I'm going to choose QuickTime, and I'm going to choose the Animation High Quality. And I'm going to choose the HD 1080p, and I'm going to keep my frame rate at 24 frames per second. I'm going to be sure to name it, decide where I want to save it, and I can go ahead and render my video. And when it's all done, it will look like this. So this is what it might look like if I go ahead and overlay that aquarium video with a transparent background on top of another video clip. This might be great for using titles or anything you might want to use it for. So just a reminder, now that we've used this overlay on top of another video, we no longer need to maintain the alpha channel or the transparent background. So I'm going to go ahead and export in my regular way. File, Export, Render Video. And we're going to choose the H.264 and the HD 1080p. And now I can go ahead and render it. So this ends our lesson, and it also concludes our class. Hope you enjoyed your time and you learned a lot. If you have any questions, be sure to ask. I would love to help, and I would love to see what you would come up with. So I'll see you on the platform.